White Boys is beginning to kill. He's drifting off a tree line. He hangs fire. They're going to drive you. Tries to straighten down White Boy. Huron is on the near side.
Top of the game is running front. Leads by a half length. And top of the game has taken the RSA.
What a horse this long presser is. He's made most of the running to win in good style.
I was in for 40 cans in last year.
On that bombshell, we're going to talk about the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. This is another one. People have been talking about it plenty, not because they know something in there, but plenty of people are trying to find some help. I think we've probably all done the same. I think everyone's dipped in it, looked, probably couldn't find anything, waited a bit, looked again, dipped in, couldn't find anything again. I don't know what I'd like in this race, to be honest with you, so I'm probably best to try and keep myself as mute as I can. The time is on. I won't do a Ballymore all over again. I don't know. I don't think I've seen anything at the moment that makes me feel like I've seen an RSA winner. And it disappoints me as well a little bit because normally this time of year, there's at least one or two to be getting excited about. So I don't have anything on my mind. I know Daryl's done in his Betfair column, put up a horse in here. Unfortunately, put up another one that was ill-fed. We've already touched on him earlier. But Jamie, maybe you could give us the best starting point. What do you make of it? Because it is, as much as maybe you don't have the strongest opinion, like the strongest fancy there, that it is 8-1 bar, and we don't think Gaillard du Mesnil's actually coming in anyway. So it's probably more like 10-1 bar-ish. So is anyone you fancy or a couple you might want to drop a mention to?
This is like, as you said, Dave, reiterating what you're saying, like this is tough. I put it that way. It's really tough compared to years gone previous. I suppose you start off with the winner of a Grade 1 at Limerick on soft ground, is Jerry Calam. I'm not buying into the crack that he needs genuine. Well, he probably does need genuine soft ground, but he's won on yielding ground in Thurles, which is good to soft really technically in England. Like what he beat the last day, like there are no world beaters like Kilcrut and Adamantly Chosen, and Limerick is soft. No matter what, it's soft heavy every time at Christmas, and he seems to enjoy it. And he seems to give it, like, the other thing that was in the back of my head would even run, because the fact of Gordon Elliott has had a lot of bad luck in this race with decent horses that have been genuine soft heavy horses and put them on good ground and something happens to them. And that's just the way it is. And the way that, the two in my head that are in the back of my head, and I backed the horse, and it's Minute Cocooner, thinking it's a good needs good ground. It does look like to me it needs good ground, because the only thing is it hasn't been seen since Gorham Park, and it was absolutely bottomless that day when he lost the Classic Getaway. That shows to me Classic Getaway needs a bog, and Cocooner will be better on the better good ground. Now I'm hoping to see Medina Cocooner in the Grade 1 that got up in the Champ one last year over 2.5 miles, and then I'll make my decision then after that. After that, I know obviously Daryl has put Time Hill. I just can't have Time Hill around Cheltenham at 3 miles. It's just me. I could be totally wrong. He could absolutely. He ran the last day, back to him the last day. He won Kempton. He's never won a 3 miles over at Cheltenham to me. I know that's hurdles, fences, the whole that. He's just not for me. After that, Dave, to be honest with you, I am clutching at straws, but I am happy at the moment to take a stab in the dark at Manila Cocooner, because I was all over the nice guy, and I'm not even going to tell you how many bets I've lost to him.
Rest in peace, Jamie's bets then, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
You did chuck a little after time about back in time Hill at Kempton, so I love it when they come in. Daryl, again, it's a good thing because we talked about the Champion Hurdle and you didn't mention Honeysuckle. Right at the top of the show, you guys will remember that someone talked about the Whacker. And as much as Jamie said, yeah, you could have him on your mind for a Brown Advisory. He is now as short as 10-1. Wasn't even in Jamie's little debrief there. So that's not a criticism, but all I mean is the real Whacker only a consideration, and is he only 10-1 because no one has a fucking clue in this race?
No, I think he's 10-1. Well, look, he was 20-1 on the back of that performance. He was then clipped into 16s shortly. I mean, it wasn't my column that did it, I don't think, but we clipped in from 20s to 16s after I broke it. I was the first person to break it about what time he did around the track that day. And then this week, you've seen a few people come out. I think Andy Holding was on a podcast, come out and, then gave him another boost and said about how well he explained his time figures as well and said he was really good. And then he's come in from 16s to 10. So I think it's the fact that people backing it on the say so of the time figure. Look, he's a lovely horse. He really is a nice horse. But I do get the feeling with him, he's going to need to pop out in front, and he's going to need to be sort of left alone and to do his own thing. I don't know. With the amount of with how open this is, I would 10-1 for me is a bit short now. It's just a bit. He's become a bit of a people's horse. Time Hill. The reason I put Time Hill up right at the start, straight after Exeter, I was a bit disappointed in myself because I didn't really want to put him up after Exeter. Because I texted you and I said he didn't come on as strongly as I'd like him to, and I'm just wondering if he just. I don't know. I'm just wondering if he just sort of. To me, at Exeter, he looked like he almost didn't stay the trip. Does that make sense, right? So I think he desperately needed the run there. If you look through his entire profile, he bounces second time, like completely bounces. That would be an excuse for Newbury. He did come back at Kempton last time, but the time was really slow. There was reports of sun in the eyes of some of the other jockeys and horses, and there was some jumping errors. But he travelled through it with a good bit of zest, so the cheek pieces definitely helped him there. I actually put him up hoping that this division would be like this, right? So every year when I do the Brown Advisory, I look back at the Albert Bartlett, right? And if, like Jamie said, if there was a runaway winner of the Albert Bartlett, the Nice Guy, for example, he would be absolutely a stone cold certainty for this, right? But he's not around. And you look back down that Albert Bartlett last year, Manella doing a clear second best, but you look at the rest and it was absolutely shocking, right? So whenever that's the case, as it was the year before when Vanillier won it, it was a terrible Bartlett then. You try and look for something outside of the realms of those novices, staying novices, right? So that's the reason I looked at Time Hill. Time Hill's the good thing he's got going for him is he's got a fantastic record around Cheltenham. Whether or not he's won or not, he's still got a fantastic record. He probably should have won that Bartlett that he was fourth in. He goes well in the spring and he goes well with time between his races. So I was banking on the fact that they would run at Christmas and then go straight to the festival, right? Philip Hobbs has come out and said that he may well go to the Reynoldstown at Ascot. Now, that is 3.5 weeks before the Cheltenham Festival. It's always in a bog, and it's an absolute graveyard for any Cheltenham Festival hopes. So I emailed him, not a scathing email. I emailed him and sent him all the statistics about Time Hill, saying, look, he's got a great record fresh. If you go there, it's 79 days, this, that, and the other. Sent him the whole record of the entire Reynoldstown for the last 15 years, saying it's just got a terrible record other than Athenian's Boy. And he said he'd consider it, right? So what they're going to, if he goes to Reynoldstown, I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. I probably wouldn't touch him now anyway. At this point in time, I don't have a bet in this because I'm lukewarm as the market is on Jerry Colombe. Gaillard de Mesnil, if he came here, he'd just win, but he's not going to come. He's going to go to National Hunt Chase. Manella Kakuna is the one you kind of want to back at just at default, really. So I can see the case with him at 10-1. Classic Getaway wants a bog, couldn't have him, especially after that Bartlett run last year. It was awful. Again, Ramillies wasn't quite good enough over hurdles. I don't see him being good enough over fences. Gentleman's Game was so slow the other day when he came out in cheap pieces for Mouse Morris. They'll come off next time and he might put an improved performance in, but I think he's got a bit to find after such a long absence. And then you're really clutching at straws. I couldn't have Giulino Bello, couldn't have Adam Lee Chosen, Journey with Me, hell no. It's very, very difficult. James de Burley was interesting, but he was all speed the other day. When he made his seasonal return, he came on very, very slowly, but he blitzed the Grade 3 Mares Chase if you put them side by side for 3/4 of the race. Now, he may have just needed the run, but I need to know that he's a proper stayer because he has got a bit of speed under his belt. I'm saying all that, mate, I ain't got a bet at the moment, so...
It's good, though, because this is the thing. Like I say, lots of people are asking the same questions. What do you fancy? They're asking lots of people, and it is the sort of general consensus. I don't think there is a glaringly obvious thing that is an omission from anybody. The only one I would possibly say is based on everything you said spot on about the fact you go for the Barley, you might go for those types of horses. We're missing all of those bits and pieces in there. The Whacker's too short now, and he wouldn't be the norm that would sort of fit in there. I do think Jerry Colombe has been pretty impressive over his fences in those couple of chase starts. And as much as the market is a bit mangled and stuff like that, I think he could be the favourite on the day when it comes to it. But I can't see weights of money and his price changing quickly now. He's 9-1 with Bet365. He's 6-1 with William Hill, non-runner money back. And then he's 5s, 7s, 8s all over the spot. So I think if off the back of this you fancy a bet, have a few quid on him. William Hill, non-runner money back for this race because he could go to different routes. But I think he's done enough, and he's won nicely.
he reminds me of Ginto for the Bartlett last year,
Yeah.
right? Like we all knew that Ginto was the best horse in the race, didn't we? Yeah.
Yep.
But like the market was very lukewarm about backing him, and it was kind of like you're not too sure. Jerry Colomb has probably done all of his best work over a trip too short. And I'm with you, Jamie, in terms of I don't think he needs an absolute bog. I think he just needs a trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, like look, if you force me to have a bet now, if this was the lineup tomorrow and I was having a bet, it would be Jerry Colomb.
Good, because I think that's probably I personally think that's the advice right now. If you're gagging for a bet and you want to get stuck on something, hopefully a few people are already on him. But like I say, the non-runner money back concession, you can get top price 9-1, you could get 8-1 or whatever. But if he comes here, regardless of all those top prices, he wouldn't be a 6-1 poke. And if he gets beat next time out, then he probably wouldn't come here anyway. So I think 6-1 non-runner money back, if you're just looking for the sake of a bet in there, just to top up your things. I do quite like him, but I do think it's worth waiting a little bit more just to get a bit more of a clue. But within that said, if Jerry Colomb goes out and goes and wins a big race now in a canter at the right sort of trip, and connections say he comes here, because this market is so fuzzy and no one can find anything, you could see him going off at 2-1, if not shorter, if, like I say, if he does win impressively next time. So for me, he would be my idea of the bet at the moment. I wouldn't be absolutely rushing to go and get the 6-1 about him, but I would think that he's the one to have a go on. So we'll leave it there because we've been over the timer. Thank you very much for your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below if you've got anything else, and then follow the links to the video for the next one, which will be the Queen Mother Champion Chase.